Seeing nobody from the public coming forward to address the council, we'll just move on to the approval of tonight's agenda. Call for motion.
So moved. Second.
Motion's been made by Baumgartner, seconded by Evers to approve the agenda. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Agenda's been approved. We'll move down to the consent agenda. It includes meeting minutes from 2 weeks ago. Resolution 28, step movement for Ashley Jansen and Heather Otto. And then cogeneration and small power production tariff for 2023. I'll call for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion's been made by Baumgartner, seconded by Evers to approve the consent agenda. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Consent agenda carries as written. Moving on to reports here. We have a special assessment update on the 1900 block of Lincoln Avenue.
Yes, so if you recall, late in 2023, we did a special assessment for the Highway 212 water main project. We did have an objection to that special assessment. This is because the city elected to put in a water main at that location for potential future development. And then the assessment would be deferred until the property owner chose to hook into that water. The property owner still objected to that assessment. And so a couple of things, I've had to reach out to 4 different appraisers. Nobody wants to touch this process. I finally did receive one appraiser who would consider doing it for a minimum of $4,000, which is much more expensive than anticipated. However, the other thing is in the packet on the 11th page, you'll actually see, so after consulting with SEH and our own planning and zoning, the setbacks to that lot are not as grievous as first implied. So he was talking about having to be 150 feet from the ditch and different sideway setbacks. They're really not that strenuous, so you actually could develop the site. He was under the impression that the site was not developable except for a billboard. So with kind of that, I'm happy to move forward with getting it appraised if we want to go that route. We could also decide to just say we're going to accept the assessment. I believe those are our 2 options. So just kind of looking for which direction we should continue pursuing. So the appraisal, it gives us backing that the improvement is worth that amount of money that we are assessing them for.
Oh, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
Under Gardner, the statute talks about the special assessment cannot exceed the benefit to that particular property that was given to that property because of this improvement. And so when there's an objection, oftentimes there will be some type of appraisal done just to prove that that benefit exceeds if it's now developable, because they need to connect to that or have that infrastructure in place. So that is why the appraisal would be done. If the council feels like the value of the property would exceed the cost of the assessment, now knowing that this property would be able to be developed, then you can proceed with accepting that assessment.
Can you remind us again what the assessment value is?
Yep, yeah, deferred assessment value is $13,610.
And so if that property was not worth $13,610.
If that improvement.
So, so the actual improvement, which is sidewalk, is that right? And
Water main.
Water main. So, and then the deferral was to
Whoever
connect
hooks into
it,
the water
or
main.
hook into it. So, that would mean, the value of that property, without the hookup to sewer, right now versus when you put that infrastructure in place and the ability to hook up, and if you're going to develop it, then the exponential growth of value in that property because they can access that infrastructure. Does that make sense?
Remind me if this is a correct assumption. If nobody ever connects to that, they do not get assessed that
Correct.
value. right?
Correct. If you never hook into the water, you do not pay the assessment.
And what's the downside if we go ahead with the assessment and then in turn, what's the trigger?
The property owner has challenged the assessment and has continued to challenge it even after the discovery of the new information, correct? And so council can move forward with the determination, and if it's accepting the assessment, then that property owner can choose to appeal that to the court system.
That the assessment can't exceed the value of the property.
Correct. The benefit to the property has to be more than the actual assessed value of for that improvement. So right now, they're not getting assessed. So they would only get assessed if they develop that property. And so,
And hook on.
and hook on. So, being able to have access to that water, is that a benefit to the property? I would think so too. The thing that we don't have with respect to that, the appraisal insight gives you is actual potential of numbers.
So the current property owner incurs zero cost unless he hooks up to this infrastructure. Correct.
And it's whoever owns the property at the time, and it gets rolled into the assessment and gets the property.
Right, so even if he sells the property, the next property owner doesn't have to worry about getting assessed on this unless they take advantage of this infrastructure. Correct.
I will
Right.
move to accept the assessment. I'll second that.
Been a motion made by Baumgartner, seconded by Evers to approve the assessment on 1930 Lincoln Avenue. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Special assessment has been approved by council. Any
Mr.
report-
Mayor, can you also just provide direction to staff, since they probably have already filed the other assessments with the recorder?
Actually, no, we haven't
Okay,
because we don't have to file until later on this year.
Okay.
So
so
we're all
then
set.
it's just.
Please include this with the rest.
With the rest of the roll, we
Right.
will include it with the roll, yes.
Okay, at this point, are there any other reports by staff?
Yes.
Oh. Okay.
So we have two. I'm gonna also be just sharing the pool report from staff
Okay.
because I was sent it too late to include into the packet. So the other report is that it was recently discovered. So if everybody's familiar with Dowling Square,
Mhm.
there is that like seemingly what looks like an alleyway behind it, which is actually not an alleyway. It's been discovered that it is City of Olivia property. And so where this is a slight cause for concern is that the Dirks building is currently up for sale. And so the future property owner would have to drive through City of Olivia property to access the back of that building. And there's been some tentative discussions about how that might work. And so staff is looking into whether it's an easement or what have you to ensure that whoever does purchase that building can still park in their section of the property. Do you need a visual?
Has this
I'm
been
sorry.
formally kind of used as the parking lot for the apartments up there? Is
I
that what
think
we're
so.
referring to?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it the larger area or just a section of that
It's just the straight strip behind Dowling Square.
to the alley?
Yes.
Okay.
It is technically on the what? It's the Dowling Square is on the east side and on the west side of that lot with the strip going to the east-west.
Is it city owned or
So-
EDA owned?
It is city owned. And this, since I arrived here, it's been undeclared on the Renville GIS map. So it was just more recently declared City of Olivia. So we have no formal action to take here. I just wanted to alert you all. We want to, of course, be very supportive of the sale of that
Mhm.
building. So we are exploring options to make sure that they can indeed access their own back parking lot.
Are there any
absolutely.
liabilities that we assume?
It's currently been used for parking. Has been, as far as I know, for years. People have been driving on it. So
Doesn't
not
have
that
to
I
go
was.
Sure.
Assuming a simple easement.
Yeah, you could, can do a license. You can actually do a license to encroach, which
Okay.
would be an agreement, and then you could put indemnification and liability in there.
Okay.
So you don't even
that
have to
chunk of
give an
property-
easement.
Are we released from liability then?
We can write that into the agreement.
Okay.
Yeah. So again, we're,
this
this was just alerted to us late last week. So just keeping you all in the loop that this is something we're working on and exploring what to do.
Yeah.
So, and then the other pool report is the pool is open. They opened on February 14th for morning adult swim. They're adding water exercise and adult evening lap swim on February 19th. She's also planning open swims starting on February 25th and 2 more on March 3rd and March 10th from 1 to 3. These opportunities will be free thanks to the Power Up Health Partners program this year. She's also hoping to have a lifeguarding class, water safety instructor class, and private lessons this spring. They're planning on the 5th and 6th graders coming to the pool in March. The adjuster's accountant is helping with the revenue loss portion of the policy. And then, as you probably are all aware, we've put out a survey about the pool. We have received 241 community responses so far.
Yeah.
So, looking forward to sharing those results with you all on the March 4th meeting.
And to kind of piggyback on Elizabeth's report there, we are in the process of planning an open house situation for the public to come to the pool to take a look at the conditions of the pool and get their questions answered by staff. And we mentioned a couple times, there is a goal to try and get one of these open houses snuck in before the school board meeting on Monday night. So potentially here on the weekend or whatever the case will be, please watch for updates on this open house concept. We would encourage our neighbors to participate in that as well, and they can get a lot of questions answered perhaps at this opportunity. Any other, wonderful. Any other reports from staff? Jody?
Question on that. Can we like kick the survey out again to make sure we get as much feedback as possible?
Sure, absolutely. I would encourage you all as council members to share it. It's on the city's Facebook page. But I would encourage it to share with your own audiences to maybe broaden their.
Is there another way to access?
I will send you the link if you'd like to send it via email. Yes.
Any other reports from council? Okay, move on to our notices. We do have a special meeting scheduled for Monday, the 26th at 5:30 to review requests for proposals for the city hall project. That will be the only business item that we are aware of at this point for that meeting. And now's a portion of this meeting, we're gonna enter into a closed session, so we're gonna enter into a closed session pursuant to Minnesota statute 13D.05D subdivision 3C1, a discussion regarding appraisals and asking prices for the possible sale of real property. Property ID numbers are 35-00150-00 and 35-00151-00. At this point, I'll ask for a motion to close this pursuant to Minnesota State Statute 13D-05D subdivision 3C1 discussion regarding appraisals and asking prices for possible sale of real property. Property ID numbers 35-00150-00 and 35-00151-00.
So moved.
Second. Motion's been made by Baumgartner, seconded by Evers to close the meeting. All in favor, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We are closed.
Yeah, thank you.
While we were in closed session, the agreement was made by council to direct staff to move forward with the purchase agreement with the product, with the properties that were discussed. Okay, now again. Council will now conduct a closed session pursuant to Minnesota statute 13D.05 subdivision 3A to evaluate the performance of the city administrator. So right now I'll ask for a motion to close the meeting pursuant to Minnesota statute section 13D.05 subdivision 3A to evaluate the performance of the city administrator.
You need this?
Second. Motions have been made by Baumgartner, seconded by Evers to close the meeting. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Good luck. Okay, thanks.
Ross, you come in now. Kind of a shocker.
Okay.
All right. In closed session, we discussed the performance of the city administrator. And now we will move forward with resolution 29, approving a step movement for Administrator Torkelson.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Motion's been made by Evers, seconded by Baumgartner to approve resolution 29. Any further discussion?
Just want to say you're doing an amazing job. Keep it up.
Appreciate it. Thanks for coming to our town, settling in and being part of the community.
My pleasure.
Yes, definitely have exceeded expectations on all fronts. Thank you very much. All right. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Call for a motion to adjourn.
Oh,
Second?
Motion's been made by Evers, seconded by Baumgartner to adjourn. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.